Okay, so I'm going to start this next little rant by saying that I am by no means an expert. I would actually put myself in the noob category as far as group rides go. I took my first ever group ride with the Fort Worth Indian Motorcycle Riders Group back in March. And I'd never ridden in a pack before, and there were 19 bikes in that pack. And where we went was 80 miles one way. And that's where I learned that my Scout 60, at least for my frame, it's set up standard, isn't the kindest to my butt after about 40 miles. But I wasn't used to riding that close to other bikes and all of that, but I've gotten used to it on the demo rides and riding tandem with Rachel. And there are plenty of videos on YouTube from people who know a lot more about it than me. If for some reason you're watching my channel and you don't have any frame of reference for what group riding on a motorcycle is like, I'll go over just a couple of things. We're at a small group. We're a group of 5 right now. Usually if the group's bigger than 8, it's a good idea to break it up, because otherwise it's too hard to keep the group together. A standard formation is what we're in right now. This is a staggered formation. The road is not really twisty or anything like that. If the road was really, really twisty, then you wouldn't ride staggered, you'd ride single file. But this road's not that twisty, it just has some very gentle curves in it. So we're able to ride staggered, and this is how you'd ride on an interstate or something like that if you were in a group, and one bike in the left half of the lane, one bike in the right half of the lane, and you want to stay between 1 and 2 seconds behind the next bike, and about 2 to 3 seconds behind the bike directly in front of you. So I want to try to stay about 1 to 2 seconds behind Rachel, and about 2 to 3 seconds behind Wayne and Kat up there. And that actually gives you 2 lanes in the lane. If something happens, if an animal darts out from this cornfield or from behind a stand of trees or something like that, it gives you room to maneuver without running into each other. But also it keeps the bikes closer together. Keeping the bikes closer together like this makes it easier for drivers in cars or cagers to see you, because now it's not just one bike with one headlight, it's a group of bikes with all of their headlights. It's bigger, it's easier to see, so it's actually a little safer, especially when you're driving around with cross traffic and stuff, to be in a group, because it's easier to be seen. But you've got to keep the group close. If the group gets spread out, then it's not a group that's easier to see, then it's a few different motorcycles that happen to be going the same way, and cars will cut in front of you and all of that stuff, and that's no fun. But you also get a good amount of camaraderie with a group ride, and get conversations with folks that you may not have ever met, and you have a bond of being out here on 2 wheels, and that makes people very friendly. I have yet to meet a biker, motorcycle rider, motorcyclist, whichever term, bikey if you're in Australia. I've yet to meet a fellow rider that was rude to me. In fact, this morning at the gas station that didn't work, we still met up there. We're sitting there finishing up our coffee. I got all 5 of these bikes out there, and a guy just walks up and wants to check out my Indian, because I hadn't seen one before. He rides a Road King, and I told him, we'll go home and get it and join us, but he was dress shirt and tie on his way to some kind of business thing. But yeah, I've yet to meet a fellow rider that's been the least bit rude or discourteous to me. There's just a bond, and when you ride with a group, you really get to experience that. couple other things. Since you're in the group, courtesy to your fellow riders is important. It's a good idea before you start a group ride to have your gas tank as full as possible, which I tried to do this morning. But the only gas station in town, the only gas station within 10 miles of where we were meeting that had premium gas, their pumps weren't working, so we had to stop and get gas about 10 miles into the ride. Rachel's bike, the Honda, can take regular unleaded, and so we were able to fill hers up. But every other one of these bikes needed premium, and so the other four of us all had to get gas 10 miles into the ride because we couldn't get gas when we started. But really, it's a good idea to do that. Now, you probably couldn't see it because he's up there ways from me, and the camera really points things out. But there's apparently a big rig tire met its demise back there, and there's chunks of rubber all over the road, and those make obstacles in the roadway. If it's on the left, you can signal with your left hand pointing down. If it's on the right, it's not a good idea to signal with your right hand because that takes your hand off the throttle. And if you're on a bike that doesn't have cruise control like me, you have to take your hand off the throttle to signal with your right hand. And engine braking on a motorcycle is very strong. You'll slow down and munch the group up. So usually you take your right foot off the peg and point with it. Just point with your toe, and that alerts other riders to obstacles in the road, whether it's a chunk of tire, whether it's a 2x4, whether it's an animal that has moved on to the next life. John's Sportster up there has some kind of straight pipes on it, and Wayne's has got some Vance and Hines pipes on it, so they're nice and throaty. Whereas my Scout is stock, and I've gotten comments about, when am I going to put some pipes on this one? And there's other things that I want to put on this bike first that cost less than the pipes do. So it'll be a while. Oh, there's a farmer's market open, and I think Bobby wants to go to that. So I guess we're going to stop at this farmer's market for a bit, and I'll get back to you.